Chad Nuttal is the Senior Housing and Residence Life Director at the University of Toronto, Mississauga, and is responsible for the university's largest residence hall system. Chad formerly led the residence life operation at Ryerson University. He also served as the director of the Canadian Society of Higher Education and the president of the Ontario Association of College University Housing Officers. Chad loves spending time with his family, swimming, camping, cycling, and anything outdoors. Please join us in welcoming Chad Nuttal to the stage as he speaks on local to global and back, how internationalization is everyone's work.
Thank you. Hello. Central to my approach to internationalization is multiple perspectives. Like our speaker yesterday said, multiple points of view. I can't possibly represent all of the views of our diverse membership, but today I want to share my perspective and some key stories in our internationalization efforts. Join me in our journey. So this is Storm. He was born in Sweden, grew up in China, and now calls Canada home. In residence, he found friends, a job, a partner. He said residence was big in his transition, not because of big things, but because of all the little things we do. The little things are big. He ties all of his success in Canada back to his time in residence. Like many of you, I like visiting campuses, and here I am in Fez, Morocco, laying down in the oldest residence room in the world at the ACUHO-I University, founded in 859, almost 1,200 years ago, 1,000 years before U of T was founded. It was a moving experience to be in that residence hall and know what life was like back in 859. Top-ranked universities come and go. Obviously, Cambridge and Oxford have enjoyed top rankings for hundreds of years, but others change as their countries wane in power. As a US-dominated organization, we need to be tuned into this. All the top-ranking universities are Asian, with the National University of Singapore rising double digits this year. With respect to international students, Canada has a ton of international students, over 600,000, and more than 5 million globally. In Canada, we need more skilled immigrants. And in Canada, we found that immigration through university education is a good way for success. It's good for students, campus, and the country. We're not just making campus home, but we're making Canada home too. 5 years ago, I heard this stat. 56% of international students did not make a Canadian friend. And that's heartbreaking for all of us that work in residence life. And other countries aren't much better. For those of us in this field, I'm sure you felt the same way that I did. It's absolutely determined to do something about it. And the first thing that I did was do some reading. And we're lucky here at the University of Toronto. Jane Knight is an expert on internationalization in higher ed around the world. And she talks a lot about what would motivate institutions and systems to internationalize. So it's not just chasing international tuition dollars, but it's creating connections, improving reputation, skill development, and even nation building. In 2016, ACUHO partnered with Academica on Canada's first empirical quantitative study on the benefits of living in residence. So not surprising, we know that students in residence have better retention, higher grades, and persist to graduation. This is even more dramatic for our international students. This data is from University of Toronto, Mississauga international students, and they have a 15% advantage over their off-campus peers. It's an incredible stat. Think of all the students that were lost that we could have kept. It's absolutely incredible because these folks also become permanent residents in Canada. A gifted colleague at Ryerson University, Jen Gonzalez, encouraged me to be curious. And this isn't easy for everybody, and for folks like me, we need to be a little bit uncomfortable having these conversations. I've put my foot in my mouth many times in the last 3 days even. So it's important to engage in these conversations to make others feel comfortable, particularly our international colleagues and our international students on our campuses. And one way you can start that right away is choosing your words carefully. So we use the term welcome home, which many of you do as well. And here's our banner where that's been translated into many different languages. I found myself using terms like, when are you going home, or where is home for you? And I've eliminated those from my vocabulary. I want people to feel like this is their home. All of us can tune into the world news, and you cannot do this from US news outlets. So I recommend the BBC World Service as one way to educate yourself on what's going on around the world. Rutundo on our team was surprised when I raised the issues that were going on in her home country of Zimbabwe, and it's just made such a connection when I was able to bring that up. This is Erin. She's a new professional and one of our former student leaders at UTM. She was an engaged international student and was thriving in our environment that was encouraging of international students when there was lots of international representation. However, we need to continue to support and encourage Erin as she enters the workforce where there are many less people that look like her. When we hit 50% international students in our residence halls, it was time to change. So we changed the way we assign rooms. We stopped kicking students out at the winter break and allowed them to stay for free, and many other of our processes. Just changing and listening and really continuing to improve life for our international students. And one way we did that is we sent Alex to Asia, where she visited colleagues, peers, and our feeder schools to learn about culture, the food, and what the countries were like where our international students were coming from. She also created a world of content that can help us improve our international students' experience. I think ACUHO-I also needs to lean in on international. The opening ceremonies of this conference were incredible, and I've never been so proud to be an international member of ACUHO-I and feel so welcomed. When Tom Ellett was president of ACUHO-I, I was tasked by the Canadian members to let him know that we were upset with Canada Day conflicting with ACUHO-I, and his response was perfect. Hello, friend. I've made sure that the conferences won't conflict with Canada Day for the next 3 years. Although there are some barriers to participating, it's also important for all of us as international members to step up, collaborate with each other, but also present with our U.S. colleagues, and making sure that we're adding value to the profession with our multiple perspectives. This was a wonderful day of sharing in 2014 at the International Symposium. But globalizing the profession is not just related to ACUHO-I. It's also about expanding our worldview, hosting international interns, participating in international research, fostering any of those global relationships. It's about having conversations with Storm, and it's about encouraging and coaching Erin. As Storm said, the little things are big. We can call each other, we can visit, we can co-present, we can attend international conferences like this one, and you can make an impact on your campuses and around the world. I encourage all of you to be open to multiple perspectives, not one way or another way, not good or bad, but just different. Now, no matter what your role, you can add value to internationalization in our field. I hope you can all make our international students feel more welcome and introduce them to friends. We can all help our international colleagues feel, and we can improve our operations and practices. No matter what your role, thank you for making campus home all over the world.